So tell me about your son.
Joshua, he's now 20, he'll be 21. We learned of his autism at age 2, and basically from that date we've pursued every avenue available to help him, to benefit him, to help him to be able to function normally. When he was younger, his behaviors were manageable, and as he got older, they began to escalate and resulted in different placements where he could be helped. But the main thing about Josh is that he's a very loving and warm individual, but he has the behaviors that he can't control. This being here at JRC has helped him to be able to regulate that behavior, to put a boundary to that escalation, so that he can now function happily, go out into public outings, come home, fly and that sort of thing. Before, we couldn't take him to an airport, we couldn't fly with him. I'm able to go home now, fly back and forth between school and home, or to the beach and that sort of thing. But you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, some of the behaviors he's talking about are extreme self-injurious behavior and aggression.
Things like
literally just going after someone, just literally out of the blue, and trying to bite them, grab their hair, knock them down. He has a daughter or a sister a year older than him, and when he was at home, he was manageable till he was a little older, and he went to one of the best day schools for autism in Virginia, and it was wonderful. But when 2:30 came and he came home and he had behaviors that would come out of the blue from medications or whatever it would be, he would just aggress. So my daughter, ourselves, we would lock ourselves in the bedroom and just hope that Josh wouldn't hurt himself.
you'd lock yourself in the bedroom?
Yes.
Because you thought he was going to hurt you or your daughter?
Yes. I mean, he would just go into severe rages that he could not control. He would grab his head and cry, and he would not want to do it, but he couldn't control it. And so we would just pray that he wouldn't run out into the street or break the door down. And it got to the point when he was transported to and from school that he would aggress in the car. And even when we put him in another residential place in Maryland, which was perfect, which was great with ABA, sensory integration, the best therapies there, on the way home for home visits, he would just attack in the car, where the police would have to come pin him down. 5 people would have to pin him down and take him to a hospital and drug him to get him calm.
So when they talk about parents being desperate, I mean, you
Yes.
evidently know exactly what that feels like.
Until you walked in the shoes of the parents with children like this, and Josh is by no means the most extreme example of behaviors here, but from day one, as a parent, you do everything imaginable, unimaginable, whatever. I mean, sometimes you grasp at straws, because from the day you find out about autism, where do you turn? There's not a go-to book, a how-to book. There's not a school that you can just go to.
JRC was the only place that said, we will take him and we will embrace him and we will take him off of those drugs that are, affecting him physically and mentally and emotionally and making him obese and not even being effective. They went through the whole detox process with him, and they were saints. But of course, he was restrained most of the time. But we were, fortunately, when the court process went through, which is quite extensive with JRC, you can't just get on the GED. He was, when they authorized it finally for him through the courts in Massachusetts, the change in him was almost instantaneous. And he has never worn a helmet since in his car for transportation. He has not been restrained one time since. You see him here, he looks like one of the healthiest kids you would ever see. And he's smiling. Physically, they take blood, they check him, take care of his dental. That was never possible before. So he's like the healthiest kid you would see. But every now and then when he gets these impulses that he can't control, which aren't very often, he either has a GED on him to remind him, I can't do that, or he'll get the 2-second bee sting, which interrupts the process in his brain and stops the behavior.
Right, so from your judgment, from knowing your son for 20 years, when you look at him, you know that he has had the shock, but you look at him and you say, he's okay.
He's a new kid. His eyes are clear. He's smiling.